Look at your screen right now. Seriously, stop scrolling and look at that exact dollar number on your screen. You are sitting there watching a guy argue for 90 minutes about video game rankings and manipulated statistics. You think you are learning something? You think you are staying informed. But let me tell you the truth that will make your stomach turn while you are glued to that hour and a half of yapping. The people who actually control your financial future are busy making moves that you are completely blind to. I was 22 years old living in a tiny studio. I did not have a real living room sofa for an entire year because I was obsessed with piling every spare cent into assets that actually generated cash. I used to drive a Beat Up 2006 sedan that smelled like burnt oil and rusted metal just to save my first $10,000. I lived on cheap pasta and coffee for months because I knew that if I did not control my spending, I would never escape the cycle of poverty. I thought the market was a fair game where good companies won and bad managers got fired, but I was dead wrong. The financial system is a rigged arena where political lunacy and distraction dictate your bottom line. Look at the chaos happening in the digital world right now. They are throwing around international deals and backtracking in the same afternoon. Like they are playing a video game. Some random influencer is posting deranged memes while the United States is staring down a $39,000,000,000,000,000 debt explosion. That is $39 trillion of debt that is currently acting as a slow-moving wrecking ball for your financial future. Think about the math for 1 second. The interest payments alone on that mountain of debt are now eclipsing the entire annual defense budget. The people running the show are desperate to force interest rates down because their math simply does not add up. They need a pivot, they need a bailout, and they are going to use your index funds to do it. I have been watching the rhetoric coming from the media and the so-called content creators, and it is all pure theater. They tell you the economy is doing great, they tell you consumer confidence is at an all-time high, but they ignore the fact that the entire system is being held together by duct tape and promises. You have these so-called internet pundits calling for more outrage while ignoring the structural rot in the national balance sheet. It reminds me of the dot-com bubble era when everyone was chasing high-flying tech stocks while the underlying fundamentals were screaming for a massive correction. I lost money early in my career because I believed the mainstream narrative. I believe that if I just kept buying the dip like the guru said, I would be protected, but protection does not come from blind faith in a committee or a political figure. It comes from holding assets that have real pricing power and true economic utility. When I look at my own portfolio today, I am heavily tilted toward high profit margin companies that actually make things. I look at the VU, the VUG, and the SHD, but I do not just dump money in and forget it like a brain. Dead zombie, I watch the macro triggers. If you are holding index funds without understanding how the Fed and the Treasury are manipulating the liquidity, you are basically walking blindfolded into a minefield. Think about why they are pushing so hard for drama on your feed. It is not just about the content, it is about securing your perimeter of attention so they can sell it to the highest bidder. These people are not geniuses. They are failing upward while your purchasing power gets eroded by debt monetization. I refuse to be a bag holder for their mistakes, and you should refuse that too. You need to stop listening to the talking heads on the news and the streamers who frame every disaster as a buying opportunity for their own ego. Instead, look at the supply and demand data, look at the debt GDP ratio, and realize that the only way they can pay back their creditors is through currency devaluation. That is why gold and quality equities remain my core defensive play. I want assets that they cannot print into oblivion. I want companies that provide actual value to the world instead of relying on government contracts or central bank liquidity injections. If you are 27 years old like me, you have a massive advantage because you have time, but time is useless if you waste it by making the same amateur mistakes as the generation before you. Stop buying the hype, stop falling in love with a specific political figure or an online personality, and start being absolutely ruthless about your own financial hygiene. I am currently reallocating a portion of my holdings to buffer against a potential market correction caused by this political instability. I am looking at the cash positions of my companies. I am auditing the debt levels on their balance sheets. I am ensuring that if we enter a period of prolonged stagnation or inflation, I am not caught holding a bag of speculative garbage. That is what it means to be a real investor. It is not about looking at charts or reading tea leaves. It is about identifying where the rot is and steering your capital toward the pillars that are actually going to hold. Do not rely on the government to save you. They are the ones driving the bus toward the cliff. Take responsibility for your own net worth. It is your life, your money, and your future. Why would you let a politician or a YouTuber who cannot even balance his own checkbook decide the fate of your retirement account? I see people buying meme stocks and crypto scams with their emergency funds. It makes me want to scream. I had a friend who cashed out his entire 401k to buy a speculative tech stock that was hyped up on social media. He lost 80% of his money in 3 weeks. He thought he was being a genius. He thought he was going to retire by 30, but he was just liquidity for the insiders who were unloading their shares. Do not be that guy. When I look at my portfolio performance, I do not look for the quick hit. I look for the boring, reliable, cash-flowing machine. I want businesses that have been through crises before. I want companies with strong balance sheets and management teams that do not spend their days posting AI-generated memes or fighting for online validation. There is no glory in getting rich slowly. But there is a lot of glory in being able to sleep at night. There is a lot of glory in knowing that your family is protected regardless of who is in the White House. The financial system is built on fear and greed. If you are fearful when everyone else is greedy, and greedy when everyone else is fearful, you are already ahead of the curve. But you cannot do that if you are constantly reacting to the news cycle. You need a system, you need a philosophy, and most of all, you need to respect the power of your own capital. When I was 22, I realized that my $10,000 was not just money, it was my freedom. It was the ability to walk away from a job I hated, it was the ability to make choices based on my own values, rather than survival. Every time you waste money on things you do not need, you are giving away a piece of that freedom. Every time you buy an asset without doing the research, you are handing your future to someone else. I am tired of watching good people lose everything because they were sold a lie. That is why I started this channel. We are aiming for 700,000 subscribers because that represents a movement of people who are finally ready to call out the con artists and protect their own future. I am going to keep telling the truth even when it is unpopular. I am going to keep digging into the numbers even when they are ugly, and I am going to keep pushing you to be better because at the end of the day, the only person who is going to look out for your financial future is you, not the politicians, not the Fed, and certainly not the pundits on television. You see, the market is a giant machine designed to extract value from the uneducated. It is designed to make you feel like you are participating while the institutions quietly rotate their positions out from under you. I look at the $39 trillion of federal debt and I see the inevitable path toward inflation. I see the inevitable path toward the debasement of the dollar. And I adjust my positions accordingly. I do not hold cash that is losing value in a checking account. I hold assets that have real-world utility. If you look at the top companies in the VU, these are businesses with moat, these are businesses with global reach, but even then you must be selective. You must look at the debt levels, you must look at the cash flow. Most people think investing is about guessing what a stock price will be next week, but that is just gambling with extra steps. Investing is about ownership, it is about owning a piece of a business that is going to be relevant in 10 or 20 years. It is about realizing that your wealth is a reflection of the value you contribute to the world. When you save $10,000 by living in a tiny apartment, you are sacrificing your comfort today to buy your power tomorrow. That is the kind of discipline that the political elite and these drama chasing creators cannot understand. They want you to spend, they want you to borrow, they want you to be reliant on them, but when you start to build your own net worth, you become independent, you become a force of nature that cannot be swayed by the latest tweet or the latest policy announcement. I have been building this path for 5 years, and I have never been more confident in my strategy. I have seen $124,560 in my own portfolio fluctuate during market corrections, and I have not sold a single share because I know what I own and I know why I own it. If you are looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, this is not the place for you. But if you are looking for a roadmap to true financial freedom, then stick around. I have a lot more hard truths to share, I have a lot more analysis to drop, and we are going to get through this debt crisis together while others are watching Street Fighter rankings. I am watching the yield curve while others are arguing about who is the real victim. I am buying more shares in productive companies while others are waiting for the government to fix their lives. I am building my own exit ramp. The difference between you and the elite is not just money, it is the mindset of who gets to control your attention. If you cannot control your focus, you can never control your wealth. I have seen talented people fail because they gave their energy away to things that did not matter. I have seen average people succeed because they were obsessed with a single objective. Wealth is not just a bank balance. It is the byproduct of a life lived with intent and focus. When you decide that you are done with the drama, you reclaim your time, you reclaim your mind, and you reclaim your financial destiny. So do me a favor, shut down the drama, open your brokerage account, look at your allocation, look at your expense ratio, look at your dividend yield. Ask yourself if this portfolio reflects where you want to be in a decade. If it does not, fix it, do it today, do it now. Do not wait for a sign. Do not wait for the market to calm down. Do not wait for the politicians to start making sense. They never will. This is your life. Take the wheel and do not let the noise distract you from the goal. We have a massive fight ahead of us against the eroding value of our currency. We have a massive fight ahead of us against the structural instability of the global economy. But we can win this fight. We win it by being smarter, by being more disciplined, and by being more focused than the people trying to drain our accounts. Stay sharp, keep your head on a swivel, and do not let these lunatics turn your retirement into their exit liquidity. I will see you in the next one.